When most people hear AI receipt, they picture a dark archive, a heavy iron door slamming shut on a record no one plans to look at. The dominant industry paradigm treats these receipts exactly like that vault. They are built as passive audit logs, post-mortem documents filed away in a proprietary cloud. In this model, you only retrieve the log after something goes wrong. You open the file because a systemic crash or a costly failure has already occurred. Treating a receipt strictly as a post-mortem artifact represents a failure in system architecture. A log tells you to trust a platform's history. It offers zero protection in the present. Compare that to a mechanical governor. As the engine spins too fast, the brass weights fly outward, restricting the valve and forcing it to stabilize. This is the core operating logic of OpenLine. An AI receipt must function as a real-time telemetry sensor, feeding an active control loop. There is a severe operational difference between identifying who broke your system after the fact and deploying a mechanism that stops the system before the boundary snaps. A filing cabinet explains the crash. A governor keeps the machine inside its lane. Reliable control of an LLM cannot happen internally. The model's chain of thought is opaque. We cannot reach inside a private inference loop and rewrite its internal reasoning mid-generation. Attempting to edit a model's active thought process is like trying to reorganize a person's desk drawers while they are currently thinking. Control has to move to the observable edges. This is the boundary principle. Effective intervention happens precisely where the model interacts with the environment. We measure the exact moments an agent invokes a tool, requests a context update, burns through a token budget, or initiates a handoff. These boundary points are safety valves. They are the strict locations where the system can pause an action, slow down the rate of requests, or cleanly cut off the model's access to the outside world. We cannot control the model's mind. Therefore, we must completely control the membrane through which it touches our systems. Moving from observation to deterministic restraint requires separating agent governance into 4 distinct layers. Layer 1 is the state. The OpenLine receipt acts as the portable sensor record, generated continuously for every step of the run. Layer 2 is evaluation. A policy engine named Cole reads that receipt and evaluates system coherence in real time. Layer 3 is governance. The Tarian's Curve controller acts as the decision engine, receiving the evaluation and selecting a bounded intervention. Layer 4 is actuation. A runtime adapter plugs directly into the developer framework to enforce the controller's decision. The sequence is tight and mechanical. The agent acts, the receipt is emitted. Policy is evaluated. The controller chooses the intervention. The runtime adapts. The outcome of that specific intervention immediately produces the next receipt, closing the feedback loop entirely. Each receipt fuels the next decision. The state of the previous run dictates what the agent is allowed to do next. The evaluation layer requires mathematical proof to determine if an agent's logic is holding together. This transformation starts when Cole parses the raw telemetry inside the JSON receipt. By mapping tool call frequency and unsupported claim ratios against the system's structural capability, Cole produces a specific index for stress, represented as kappa. Simultaneously, the engine compares the current state to a history of previous receipts. This identifies drift, the delta hole index, which quantifies silent shifts in the agent's behavior. These indices move in real time as the agent emits new data packets. Cole continuously scans for unresolved contradictions and drops in evidence strength that indicate the reasoning is fracturing. When these mathematical indicators cluster, the system status flips from green to amber. This provides the controller with the precise signal needed to intervene before a red failure. A task marked completed is useless if the indices show the path was highly stressed, drifting, and built on unsupported logic. The OpenLine receipt graph immediately registers the structural break between the stated claim and the missing execution. The control layer explicitly flags this unresolved loop in real time. It prevents the agent from silently retrying the exact same flawed logic. Without active control, the agent gets trapped in a hallucination loop. It burns massive amounts of tokens and compute time until a hard system timeout finally kills the run. From there, the system deploys targeted interventions. It can force the tool boundary, shorten the agent's task horizon, or reroute the workflow entirely. By detecting the mathematical gap between claim and action, the system intervenes to save time and money long before the cost reaches the end user. We are moving past the traditional view of compliance and building a stability engine. Traditional compliance asks who was responsible for the damage months after the damage is already done. A stability engine drastically reduces wasted tokens, cuts down human cleanup, and catches unconstrained behavior upstream, protecting the user from the start. OpenLine Core, COLE, and the Terran's Curve controller actively demonstrate this sensor, policy, and governor logic today. The final, ongoing layer of integration is building the universal adapters that enforce these exact interventions across every arbitrary agent runtime. The receipt is the sensor. The protocol is the membrane. The controller turns evidence into restraint. OpenLine creates the opportunity to halt an agent while the error is still unfolding.